and Coconuts, where we talk about slice of life topics focusing on traumatizing, embarrassing, and childhood stories from Indian kids living in America. Our host Arjun is not here today. It's just me, Shiny, and Harshita.
Yes, sir. Okay. Hi, I'm Harshita.
And
Mm,
today, our topic is talking about peer pressure, specifically about like academic, because me and Harshita, we both live in like an academically rigorous area.
Yeah,
So,
and both our schools are very academically pressurizing and like
mhm.
known and kind of infamous. Like if you search up my school on Urban Dictionary, bro, the entire thing is just about how academically pressurizing it is and how we're all just a bunch of AP kids.
Yeah, man. Like, I think with that, like, it's good sometimes to be in a community that kind of pushes you to try new things. Obviously, in this school, I don't think I would have been as like academically challenged, which is sometimes a good thing, but it also comes with its own struggles, like trying to be the best version of yourself all the time, academic wise. And like as someone who's doesn't get concepts that easily and has to put a lot of time outside of school to try to understand it, sometimes it's like really hard to keep up with the rest of my students. And when I don't get that much of like if I don't get a good grade unlike my classmates who all somehow get like 100s, it's really like scary too, because I feel like I don't know, I'm going to be behind and I'm not going to have a good future, get into a good college because of that.
Right? Like for me, it's just the fact that you think you're doing enough, right? And then you notice what if someone else is doing or a bunch of other people are doing, and you're like, wait, so what I'm doing is not enough. I need to do more. And then if you actually look at it from an outside perspective, you are already doing too much. But
Mm-hmm.
your too much is the standard. And you should be
Exactly.
doing way more than the standard. And I feel like that really built off of like pressure because like I'm over here taking classes that I don't even would never ever do it go back to in my future. Like I'm out here doing classes that I know that are not going to affect what my major is going to be or what I'm going to do in the future, but I'm taking them anyways cuz I need to build up on my weighted classes or build up on AP classes or I'm doing things outside of school and like we're really living in this like world where I have to be doing more than what is needed for me. It's unnecessary amount of stress and work, but I still do it anyways, knowing that it's wrong, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, like going to the part where you said that you would do classes that just for the sake of getting credit.
Mm-hmm.
That was me sophomore year. I don't like history for people that know me. Like, I mean, it's really hard for me to memorize all those events. It's not like math where you have one concept and you can apply it to all different problems that use that concept. But with history, every unit is different and you have to remember every event, person, especially when there are like 18 Georges out there in history and I don't know each one. It's so hard. So like I would never do AP Euro and I never had the intention of doing it. And I was okay with that because obviously I don't want to go into AP like anything history related. But I saw that my other classmates were doing it and I felt like if I didn't do it, I wouldn't be enough. And there's like that feeling where sometimes pushing yourself over the limit is better than regretting your decision. That's kind of what I felt was the right choice. Like, yeah, I'm going to regret it if I don't take it, but I don't want to have that regret for not taking it because I see everyone else talking about it and I feel bad when I'm not in that class too. So I took it. It was like the worst decision of my life, honestly. Like, I was up all night trying to finish assignments. And not only that, like, not only the workload, but it was the, I guess, also the pressure with it
Mm-hmm.
because my other, like, my classmates, the people that were in my class, it would seem so good at everything they do. And, like,
Right. And I feel like that adds to it too. Like it
yeah,
adds the
exactly, right?
pressure.
Like it sometimes it feels like we're pitting against each other. It used to be all cooperative, like, oh, what did you get? Like we would help each other get over the obstacles. But in AP Euro, maybe it's also us being online, but it felt like it kind of ruined the cooperative aspect of it and made it more competitive. So people were like one for themselves, and it felt
Yeah.
really it was really sad to see that because when you go to so many people like put together to try to take as many AP classes as they want, they try to do everything they can to benefit only themselves because in this world day and age, especially now with so much more competition, with schools being more competitive, because people just get smarter over the years also. Because I think immigrants coming in like us, when we come
Oh
in,
yeah, we have to like be
there's
the best of the best, because otherwise if
exactly
we don't be best of the best, it's like we're never gonna make it.
right. And it creates this like positive feedback loop with more people coming in, competition increases, and then more people come in. And then it, like as the years go on, it requires people to be smarter and work harder to survive, which is it's good because ultimately we're all getting smarter, but like also there's that price of peer pressure and
Right. And I feel like the price that you have to pay for this is your struggle with mental health. Like
mhm,
mentally, you become so exhausted, and physically, and then because of how mentally exhausted and tired and just how bad your mental health can be, it physically can affect you too. You become
mhm,
more exhausted, and like have loss of appetite, loss of sleep, and it's like you are being so like it's like it's such a detrimental effect on you as a person mentally and physically, but yet knowing how toxic and knowing how bad it can be for you, you still go back into that same cycle again. Like I was out here, like sophomore year was horrible. It was online and I hated it. I hated everything about it. Like I just did not want to do school anymore. Like I honestly would just I was like, I give up. I can't do this anymore. I would be up late doing my assignments because I didn't do them during the time we were told them to do. And I would kind of, BS my way through all of it. I still did well, but like it was just so mentally and exhausting, right? And so I'm over here like, then when summer rolled around and when that all ended, I was so much happier. I was doing better, like mentally and physically. And you could tell that I was like, I didn't look as tired anymore. But then when school started again, I'm like slowly going back into that loop,
mhm.
of what I was in sophomore year, which I don't want to go back to. But I slowly am getting back to, lack of sleep, loss of appetite, the stress levels like progressively rising as, your more things are being put in the grade book. Like not only that, like it also depends on your teachers. I'm not gonna say my school out loud because I don't want to like dox it or whatever. But it's hard to find a good teacher, like a genuine like some I know like are really sweet, but they kind of suck at teaching. Some I know are like really strict, but they're like
Mhm.
good at teaching. And there's ever that like perfect balance. It's hard
Right.
to find that perfect balance of a teacher where they're really sweet, but they know how to teach. Like
Mhm.
it's so rare to find that. I'm lucky I have a teacher like that like this year, and like not none of my teachers are like really that bad this year, and I'm so grateful for that. But I feel like that also plays into it, and then and then they put this idea in your head that college is worse than this, right?
Right.
And then you're like, oh my god, how if I can't even survive high school, how am I going to go off to college? How am I going to do the real world, and they put this idea in your head that you think you're struggling now, wait till you grow up, like
It is so invalidating too because every time they're like, "Oh, you shouldn't be struggling. You guys are under the shelter of your parents. You're not even paying taxes yet." Like, yeah, we understand we're not adults yet, but you got to understand we're still struggling here.
right?
And
But yet they put the pressure of adults on us. Like, if anything, you're making us even more worried because we're already worried about what our current lifestyle is right now. And then you
Mhm.
put the pressure of making us worry about our future along with that. Like, broski, what are you doing?
Yeah. And going, this is kind of a different track, but talking about pressure, there's nothing more stressing than Socratic seminars. So for people that don't know what they are, they're like
God.
class discussions, and there's like a prompt based on the unit that we're learning, and there are a few questions that everyone has to kind of answer. And although it's also graded on your complexity of your answer, it's mostly on class participation, which favors the extroverts. And I'm an ambivert, which fortunately is not as stressful as if you were an introvert going into that situation. But like again, seeing so many people, it's bound to stress you out. And they put you in a circle. So everyone's just staring at you and you feel like your answer is going to get judged And it's like really stressful, especially like the extroverts are kind of vibing, there's always those 2 or 3 kids that are super involved into the discussion. They never shut up.
Oh,
But like,
can we talk about that for a second? Because I know that's not related to the topic right now, but like you have talked like 5 times. You are safe with your grade. Your grade is like cushioned, okay? It's well protected. But for the people out here who are trying to speak, like you can visibly see that they're trying to say something, but then this like person comes in again, and it's always the same like 2 or 3 people in your class. I'm like, please just stop talking. I don't want to hear your voice again.
Dude,
Like,
yes,
give us a chance to talk.
I was having this credit somewhere like not 2 weeks ago, right? And I was really trying to say so my teacher, she split the class into 2 groups because we have a lot of people and we can't get through all of them. And unfortunately for me, I don't know why, but I was in a group with all guys. Like we got to choose, and my friend Devin, I just went with him because I wanted to do it with him, obviously. But then somehow all the guys ended up there. Like it was exactly divided between girls and boys, and I was the only girl in the group, which nothing wrong with that. But the guys in my class, they're kind of like, I don't know. I mean, they're a bit hardcore, especially like that class too. And it's just really like I didn't notice it. And because I was the only girl, I was kind of singled out because my teacher would even point it out. She was like, such an interesting division. And then everyone would look at me because I was the only one that didn't I was the only the girl there. So going in, I was already super scared, and because I didn't want to be there, obviously, and it was history. Of course, it's history, the one weak subject that it's just really hard for me, right? And I was trying to get my word in because the requirement is to speak 2 times, and I was trying to say something, but there was this one person who would always talk he already talked like 5 times, but he would still keep on going and going. And every time I tried to muster a word in, he would interrupt me. And it was like, I was like, bro, like there's one like problem of trying to like actually get in and like speak what I have to say without getting judged. And then there's another thing to even get to that point to say it because everyone else keeps interrupting me. And it's the one person, like I just wish we could put all those people in like an intervention or whatever, and then tell them to like give other people some like
chance, right?
Chance, exactly. It's so annoying too because we all know that you are very like intel. How do you say this? You're very you know the topic very well. You know what I'm saying? Like I admire your passion for it, but there are other people that need to get their points as well. And the pressure of trying to even get your word in is just school's so extrovertedly favored. It's really
exactly
annoying.
And then like for me, it's like I said, I'm also an ambivert, so it really depends on the day and what side of me decides to show up. Like, am I going to be extroverted today, or am I going to feel introverted today? Socratic seminars always bring out the introvert in me. So, for like discussions or whatever, like, oh my God, it's like I have so many good things to say, but I'm so worried about, oh my God, what if what I say doesn't make sense? And then also when I'm like quietly raising my hand. I'm like, like making those little noises, like, oh yeah, I want to say something. Like it's not loud enough for anyone to hear, but I'm over here like, yeah, I think everyone can hear that I want to speak right now. Like those moments are so difficult. Or oh my God, wait. I know again we're like going off topic, but it just reminded me of like when you have no friends in that class and the teacher says, go pick a partner and you could choose. And I'm like, shoot, who do I go with? Or like you can sit anywhere you want and you don't know anyone in that class.
Yes. Oh my
and I'm
God.
like,
Okay.
well, I just honestly just take a random seat and I'm like, I'm just gonna sit here.
Right.
I don't know. Anyone can sit here, I guess. It's like so awkward and I'm like, I don't know what to do.
And group projects. Well, obviously group projects are very important to build social connections because in the real world, you're gonna have to do it whether you like it or not. But when they like make you pick your groups, and then also that awkward silence when you don't know anyone in your group and no one says anything, so you're just standing there like, so how was your day, right? The worst
Yeah.
thing is when they don't respond to your small talk. Like I'm really trying here, all right? Like I'm not in my safe. Like the thing with ambiverts is you can only muster up the courage to talk to someone if you're already familiar with some of the people in the group. That builds your confidence up so you can meet new people more naturally. But when you're in a group or like in school in general and you don't know anyone, you don't have anyone to like give you that sense of confidence. So you're just there like trying really hard to talk to the people there and you
Yeah.
just can't. And then again, we talked about this in our last podcast, but when they don't vibe the energy, especially, it puts a lot
It's
of
really
pressure.
hard. Yeah, it's really
Exactly. And it
hard.
like puts the pressure on you to try to move the conversation along, but they're just there like a sitting duck, just standing there, like not doing anything to try to put an effort into it as well. And you're like, yo, but yeah.
Okay, let's just go back on topic because we kind of
Oh yeah.
straight away. So where
Okay.
we're at?
Oh wait, pressure. We also have family pressure, not academically wise, but
Yeah. Oh, I think we have to talk about that because going to an academically pressurizing school can also make it so your family wants you to do just as well because you're in that type of school environment.
mm-hmm.
Honestly, actually, I mean, to be fair, my school isn't really like that because my parents kind of put that academic pressure on me no matter what school I would probably have gone to. But I feel like that also can play a factor because your parents notice what all the other kids are doing, what their parents are telling them. It's like, oh yeah, my kid is doing this, and and then they're like, oh wait, my kid is not doing this. So they come to you and you're like, you have to do this and this and this. Are you doing that yet? Oh yeah, by the way, did you do this yet? And you're like overload on like it's like sensory overload. You know what I mean? Like there's so many things going on. You're over here trying to do your classes, try to first of all comprehend what's going on in your classes, and then you have a social life to also maintain. Like at school, even if you have just one or two friends, that can be difficult. Okay, even just
Right,
having like two friends can be hard to maintain. And then along with that, you have to do homework on the side. And you have tests to prepare for, and then you think about like your future. It's like there's so many factors that play to like just being pressured academically. It's
mm-hmm.
so difficult to just get on with a day, you
Right.
know?
Right, like because home that's supposed to be a safe haven from school and their academic pressures. But when your own like family also brings it up, you don't have a place where you could just chill.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
also social pressure. Again, maintaining a social life it's pretty hard, especially when in high school because there's so many things going on like extracurriculars and stuff. Sometimes it's hard to like keep in contact with your friends, but in a place which values having a lot of friends and being popular, obviously high school hierarchy and all that, it's the the pressure of like making friends because you don't want to come off as lonely. I mean,
Yeah,
there's nothing
exactly.
wrong, but with high school, they ostracize you. Is that the word? Or like
Ostracize,
ostracize
ostracize.
ostracize you for if you don't have that many friends. Which I mean, it's just so sad that like we're in that type of environment
Right? But like
because
I'm just gonna say right now, I'm glad that you know how in high school movies they always push that stereotype of cliques and there's like the jocks, the nerds, the art
mhm,
kids, like you know what I mean? Like very, very cliche and stereotypical. Like
mhm,
I'm glad the thing is no high school is really like that. I don't know about maybe it's the same for other people out there, but
mhm,
for my high school, it's not like that. We don't we don't have stereotypical cliques. It's just groups of friends from all
right.
different types of like interests and backgrounds or whatever who come together and just sit together. Like you might have like a couple things and interests, but you're not stereotypical. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm,
there's nothing stereotypical about it. Like it's like, oh, makes sense. They're friends. No wonder they're hanging out. You know what I mean? Like
right.
we
See, the
just
sad thing about my school, well, I think in the area that we live in normally, the popular kids are a culmination of all of them. They're jocks, they're athletic, they're smart, they're good looking, they're in theater, they're all of them in one. That's what makes them popular because they're so bloody perfect at every single thing they do. Which again, it's so like like when you go to that school and you see these people that are so versatile and nice at the same time with so many friends. You can't help but feel like you're not doing enough, or maybe you're
right?
not social enough. And it's, yeah, it's,
Yeah, I think like not only it's like it also builds on the fact that you have to have friends. Like honestly, because my school is a very, I guess, how do I say this? We tend to be a lot of social interaction.
mm-hmm,
So we have a lot of that, and you'll always see people talking in the hallways or in classes or whatever. It's a very social, interactive environment. So when you're like stuck in that kind of environment, it's like you have to live up to those expectations, you
mm-hmm,
know? And so I guess that also plays into a factor. It's like I have to be social. Like, oh my God, look at them. They have so many friends. Why don't I live up to that? You know, why am I not like that? Like I'm over here only having two friends. They suddenly know everybody in this entire class. You know what I
mm-hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
And obviously it's probably not like, let's be honest, they probably like just roughly know them, but like even that like outlook that they give off, like that image they give off kind of puts pressure on you also, not only
Mm-hmm,
academically but also socially to do well.
mm-hmm.
And I feel like when you and then you start comparing yourself to that and you're like, okay, this is going to go downhill really fast. Like how do I stop what's going on here, you know?
Mm-hmm. I think another type of pressure is trying to live up to uh ethnicity, like ethnic expectations. Like we're Indian, and we're not exactly like Indian, like traditional Indian, I would say, because
Yeah.
obviously, like living in America, you get whitewashed at some extent. I don't want to say whitewashed because it seems so bad. Like obviously, you're influenced by the people around you, and
Yeah.
because of that, we're not
And like
traditionally.
yeah, exactly. You live in a country where it's like solely not one culture or one type of vibe. And like if I lived back in India, I probably would have been way more Indian,
Mm-hmm,
quotation marks. But like because I live here, surrounded by different types of cultures, and also I'm surrounded in and then the entertainment that I view or I listen to a lot more American or westernized. So I'm gonna
right.
obviously be influenced by that. That like that kind of, but then again, that also pulls you further and further away from your ethnicity and who you identify as.
Mm-hmm, right. And the pressure of like when again, it's always the in like when the Indian auntie's like, oh no, my child goes to like the temple every day or something about to that extent. And it gives you a lot of pressure to try to live up to that too, because sometimes the parents are like, how come you don't wear like Indian clothes? Maybe you should try that once. Oh, maybe you should go to Bhagavad Gita or learn more about that, or go to the temple and be more active in rituals and chants and festivals. And it makes me feel like I'm not Indian enough, or like that pressure of like, oh, maybe I'm so like whenever someone uses the word whitewashed again, it's like, oh yeah, no, I'm doing something wrong. I'm going against my own religion and my country by not, I don't know, by not like wearing ethnic clothes during the
Right?
festival.
Like okay, it's probably gonna be like leaking into a future topic. So, but like it definitely does build upon that because I think it's like I don't know how to explain it. Just I mean, as much as like at the same time, I like my school aside, putting all aside all the pressure that it gives me, you know? Socially, great place. I love being there socially. Like it's so much fun to be around friends and just talk during lunch or even in your classes and just making weird jokes in your class or your class is vibing together. Like I love that energy, but at the same time you're like, man, being here reminds me of how much that I'm not going to be able to make it in the world, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that sounds very depressing and dramatic, but like in all honesty, it kind of does because you're seeing people out here doing so much and you're
Mm-hmm.
not doing that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what? How? Like, I don't know how to live because like a love hate relationship. Like, do I or do I not? You know?
Yeah.
Whole questioning yourself again. It's like, damn, this is what it means to go to a high school like this, kids. Like I've had people tell me when before I went into high school, like go to this high school. Do not go to the one you're going to go to. And I said no. And now I'm like, I should have said yes. I should have said yes. You know?
Right. It's also ironic because like the people that compare themselves to other and feel like they're not enough, there's always someone that compares themselves to that person. You know what I'm saying? Like it's always
Yeah.
this endless cycle. There's always someone that's going to be jealous of you, and those people don't know that there are other people that are jealous of them. And sometimes when you just take a step back and you think about what you have done so far, you're like, I am doing above average for other states and areas. But when you like compare it to your own school, you feel like you're not doing enough. So I guess
Right.
sometimes like you just need to take a break, take a chill pill, try to remind yourself of what you have done and what you did to come like to this moment, and
Right. I think that's what like, and like, you know what, we're teenagers. We are almost adults, but we're still young and confused and don't know what the heck we're doing in this world.
Mhm.
But like, that comes with like that kind of trying to figure yourself out kind of comes with time. And like
Mhm.
even me just in general, like it's gonna take a long while for you to genuinely just be okay with what you're doing.
Right.
Right. So that honestly, I feel like if I don't have any advice for that, because I would be hypocritical and I would be going against my own words. But like that just comes with time and you will be fine. Like I think you just have to always remind yourself that you are doing enough. Trust
Mhm.
me, as long as you're doing what you need to be doing, you are doing enough. What other people are doing, they're just doing what they think is enough. That does not mean you're not doing enough.
Right.
You know, like everyone has their own definition of how much they need to do, what like their standard is. You are fine. You just have to make sure you know what you're doing is enough and not and don't like define that by comparing it to what other people are doing. Like it should be your own definition. And like coming from two kids who go to academically pressurizing schools, trust me, it gets worse. But like honestly, it's like kind of at the same time that environment can be extremely toxic, but there's that little bit that's not toxic and that really pushes you to be better. And
Mhm.
like honestly, having friends in those type of environments is great because y'all can like suffer together and like you know what I mean. Like you bond over just how difficult it can be. Like
Right.
at the same time, I like where I am. Like I like my school. I just wish it wasn't so toxically pressurizing for academically wise. But like I can't change that at this point and I'm okay with that. I have to deal with it, you know. We're out of here in 2 years. So just remember, high school is like 4 years, y'all. Like cherish that. Like it goes by so fast. Like I'm over here already a junior and I was a freshman before quarantine. So it feels so weird and it's like, you know what? It's okay. We all do well in the end, I guess. It's just a lot
Mhm.
of stress, but everyone ends up getting out of it. And just know that it ends eventually. Like, yeah, you'll have more stress in the future, but that's a different type of stress. This is different and like it ends eventually. So I feel like I'm not being very inspirational here, but like I'm just saying it does end.
Yeah, like
I don't
I
know
think
that feeling yet, but I know it does end.
yeah, I think most of it we're just like the good thing about this podcast it is like it's us giving advice to ourselves half the time because
Yeah.
we're trying to follow it too. And just know like there are obviously bad parts about every school, and unfortunately for us it's academically pressurizing, but they're obviously like Rashita said, they're good parts too. And sometimes you just gotta cherish the good parts and
Right. And just power your way through because we're
right.
out here doing it. So can you.
Yeah, like what I'm trying to do is maybe try to take the academically challenging part and look at it in a new light. Yes, it can be pressurizing at times. Obviously, you can't just ignore that pressure and effect it has on your self-esteem. Like at some points, sometimes I like look at people doing better than me and I can't feel but help like feel jealous, but I'm trying to turn that jealousy into maybe something more positive like inspiration. Like I see that person and I'm like, wow, they're really smart. Maybe I could work more into things that I'm passionate about, so I could also do something like that. Like it's a
Yeah.
long process and it's not like an A to B thing. And obviously, just because you can turn something into inspiration or positive, there's going to be some times where you still can't help obviously but feel that jealousy and peer pressure. But just trying to make the bad parts into good parts and looking at it in a more positive mindset would definitely help make your high school journey more easier, I guess.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
okay. Well, that's all we have time for today. I guess we'll end it here. Do all the things like subscribe, follow, whatever those are. Not very good at this, but like we will see you next time with another topic. I hope you guys like this one. This one was kind of fun. It was kind of a rant session, honestly, but
That's true. The good thing about having it with only two people is that it's more of a conversation rather
yeah.
than, again, when we have like so many people, it's like the Socratic seminars in school. Everyone's trying to get a word in. There's like five people interrupting each other, so you're just like, oh, well, that's awkward. But yeah,
Right? But it's like, what? It's okay. I think we'll have more of us next time. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoy that. Okay,
all right,
bye.
bye.